Hello, Michelle Blum here, aka Nutrish Mish, and welcome to this episode of Nutrish Mythbusters, where we debunk or confirm common nutrition and diet myths. I asked you guys on my Twitter at Nutrish Mish to give me which ones you were the most confused about. Today we're going to talk about BMI. Is it a good predictor of health status or not? This is actually a myth when it comes to individuals. BMI is kind of like a glorified height-weight chart. It's a calculation that takes into account your height and your weight, and that's kind of it. It doesn't take into account gender or body composition. So sometimes you might go to the doctor and your doctor says, according to BMI, you're overweight or you're obese, but you really don't feel like you are. I kind of think about BMI almost like the SAT of the health world. So SAT is not a great measure of intelligence, but it's universally defined and it's kind of the best we got. The same applies to BMI. So BMI is great when we're looking at large groups of people, but for individuals, it's not always a great measure. I was working with an NFL player a couple years ago, and while I was working with him, he actually got denied health insurance, and the reason was because according to his BMI, he was considered morbidly obese. Now this guy had almost not an ounce of body fat on him, but because he was so muscular, his BMI was high, so the insurance company had thought that he was morbidly obese according to that standard. So why does that happen? So if I had a tennis ball size amount of fat and a tennis ball size amount of muscle, even though they're both the same size, the muscle is going to weigh significantly more than the fat does. So if you're a muscular person that just happens to have a lot of muscle on you, your BMI is always going to be a little bit higher than what's considered to be healthy. So if you're an athlete, that might be an area where you might look at your BMI and think it's a little bit high, but in reality, you're not really at risk for any kind of health disease and disease most likely. So BMI, like I said, is not the best metric when it comes to health and things like that. I've been weighing people, probably I would say about 100 people a week for, maybe the past, 10 years, give or take. And if you said to me, draw me a picture of what someone who's 150 pounds looks like, or if you had somebody walk in and ask me what their weight was, it's impossible for me to say, because body composition, more so than weight and more so than BMI, is actually different for everybody. So someone who's 150 pounds can be anywhere from a size 2 to a size 22 and everything in between. So we have these ways of speaking so we can universally understand and define something, but that might not be a good representation of you as an individual. The best metric to kind of look at in this case is body fat. It's not easy to get body fat tested for everybody, so that's why we have these calculations. But if your body fat is in between healthy ranges, no matter what your BMI says, you're just fine. If your body fat's maybe a little bit out of healthy ranges, that's when it might be time to kind of take a look. But if you can get your body fat and muscle mass composition tested, that's really the best way to know, which we do that at our office. So if you would like to take advantage of a complimentary consultation, you can either visit our website at www.nutrishmish.com, that's NUTRISHMISH.com, or you can give us a call at 516-813-6698, extension 2. Thank you for checking out this episode of Nutrish Myths. When you call, don't forget to mention that you saw us on this podcast. Tweet me at Nutrish Mish. Let me know what myths you would like to hear about, and I will see you guys next time. Have a great one. Stay healthy.